optimistic.
Hey, record, but yeah, um, it's one of those things. If you stay with it, you'll crack it. 100%. You're too smart not to.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. So
We
Yeah,
actually,
we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm actually quite excited about it. So it's just for now, just to get something on going, and then focus on the agency again.
yeah. Moon just said he's got one of his campaigns got open rates of 80%. I think that's a cold email campaign as well. So like when you get 80% of strangers to open your emails, you're doing something right.
Yeah, a little bit more than right, I would say. That's a hilariously big number.
Yeah. I'll tell you the big win for us. So we're in a weird situation. We're buying land to build on, but the house I live in, I rent. And we had a house that we loved and we rented, and then the landlord got kind of really sick and said, I need to sell it urgently. And so we had to move suddenly. And it was the high season in Mexico. There's a season where like all the snowbirds come down, and there was like literally nothing available. So the house I live in now is like literally the only house I could find. It wasn't like I said, this is my dream house. But now that it's low season again, we found a house, and I got like kind of El Chapo's compound now. It's a really, really fucking cool house. I got like 4 or 5 bedrooms, and I have a guest suite. I'm like really stoked to be moving in there. Room for my chickens.
That sounds crazy. So you just got kicked out in like this week?
No, that was a few months ago, but we're moving in 2 weeks. And the cool thing in Mexico is I have an army of movers to help me move like 6 things.
Nice.
You guys ready to hear me rant a little bit?
Go for it.
I hope so. I want to give you just a little bit of backstory for this rant. So, not that I necessarily have all of paid ads figured out. Anybody who tells you they do is full of shit, in my opinion. Like the smartest ads people I know are still learning shit every day. But there was a time period. So as a total, I've probably spent on client money. If I had to guess, it's at least north of like $3 million I've spent on client ad money. And my own probably, maybe like 10% of that. Like I probably spent over 300 grand of my own money on paid ads, through Facebook and Google, and a little bit of dabbling here and there in some of the other platforms. And one of the things I found is there was a time period where I was going through where I was doing a lot of Facebook ads. Like we were a very Facebook ad. So I'm trying to, who is Asanafanafanal? I forget who that is. So there was a period where we were doing like a shit ton with Facebook ads. And like I said, I've spent millions for myself or for my clients doing this, and hundreds of grand on our own agency and things like that. And I was doing all the things that everybody says that you have to do with the paid ads. Tarek, I'm just gonna mute you because it's loud. So with that, when you're running paid ads, I was doing all the things like people said you had to do in terms of like only scale the winners a little bit a day and try all these different images and do all these different things. And what ended up happening, I'm sure many of you guys have been in that experience. I know Ross has been in that experience. I'm sure Elvin has been in it. I'd be surprised if Kyle wasn't as well. Is you end up with a lot of fucking shitty ass mediocre ads that aren't quite working. And you have 500 split tests and all this stuff to manage. And right around that time, I came across a guy who was just advertising my newsfeed. And it's very rare that somebody just advertising in your newsfeed changes your life. But the guy's name was Brad. And he talked about doing a less but better approach to ads. And this was kind of a game changer for me at this point, because it freed me from all the bullshit that everybody says you have to do. You got to split test all this and you got to do this. And then all that I was doing is I would have like 800 fucking campaigns, and they would all kind of be like doing mediocre to poor, and started focusing on having one single ad. That means like one targeting, one image, one set of copy. And what we found is by doing that, my ads work better no matter, and this has worked across every single campaign. Now, having said that, when you get bigger and you start to like really scale campaigns, the opposite is true. You really do want to split test those variables. But I think what happens is people start doing all those split tests too soon. And so they end up creating things that don't work. So I wanted to show you one that kind of like epitomizes what we're kind of talking about here. I'm going to share my screen for a second. I don't know if you guys have seen this in the group, but this is from Steve. I don't know what his numbers are now, but they're, as far as I know, they're still running it. This is an ad, by the way, that at least when he first told me about it, this is an ad he's running for his client, but it's generating about $60,000 in sales for every time they spend 150 bucks. And particularly why I liked the ad is because of all the things he's not doing. Like, you know, when I talked to Steve, I asked him about it. He said, oh, this is the only ad we're running. And it's 4 sentences long, by the way. And part of Steve's secret in doing this was, you know, I asked him about it. He said he used to own a used car dealership. And when you use a used car, like when you own a big, expensive mainstream dealership, you take out full page ads in the newspapers and you run big online ads to tell people about an event you're having and where every car must go, right? Like you have a big sale and everybody knows. But when you have a used car dealership, you don't just have mountains of money to throw at your campaigns. And so you tend to run, back in those days, these little newspaper ads. And the newspaper classified ads, you're allowed 20 words exactly. And, you know, one of those words is going to be taken up by the contact information, you know, call Steve, phone number, right? So he said he had to really, really think about like, what's important? Like, I only got 20 words to say it. And if you look at this ad, by the way, this is like the offer matrix 101. I don't know if you guys can point out, like, anybody see what the symptom is here?
High bill.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, before solar, $398.63. That's a very specific thing. And we've mentioned before, if you finger point to the right symptom, like a lot of times in copy, we try to do all these things to like, you know, like induce their pain, you know, like, are you feeling frustrated? Are you overwhelmed with blah, blah, blah? Like people write like that. But if you just point to something they don't fucking like, that happens automatically without any words. And you don't have to say anything else. Like there's no emotional, like, do you hate your fucking power bill? So it just says before solar, there's the symptom. And of course, you know, what's the result? It's a line later, says after solar. By the way, does anybody see the new and exciting way out in this? It's in there.
The solar thing, the whole solar thing, basically.
Exactly, right. We forget sometimes that new and exciting doesn't mean you have to like reinvent the wheel. It just has to be new to your market. If someone's paying a power bill, solar's a new idea, right? Right? Like, oh, well, if I put on solar panels on my roof, I don't have to do this anymore. Like, for real, I love how shockingly simple this ad as well. We've got a dramatic demonstration here, right? You guys can see. Part of what makes this so successful is it doesn't say you could save $400 on your power bill. It shows a guy holding them up. And I assume, you know, I've got the low quality version here saved, but I assume if you zoom in, you could probably, you know, click on the ad and actually see those bills. What would actually probably make it stronger is if he was standing just a little closer to the camera and you could actually see the number. But still, you know, it's a dude holding his power bills. You can see before and after side by side. Remember, we've mentioned you have to finger point to how that shows up into the reality. What better way to finger point saving money than old bill, new bill, right? Old bill, new bill. And I think when you guys think about this, you know, one of the things that's worked for me in creating these kind of ads when I've started like doing is I actually write my best Facebook ads, and we're starting to do a little bit with Facebook right now. Again, I finally got an ad account. It's not my own. I'm a bad boy. But what I found helps best is actually to write your Facebook ads a long ways away from the screen. I don't necessarily saying like if you guys use the screen, like it won't work for you, but I'm just, you know, sharing for me personally, the best ads I've ever written we're far, far away from a Facebook ad screen. And part of it is when you think about just writing one ad, and I think about like creating the offer matrix and a demonstration, there's not a ton of moving pieces. I would think like, who would I want to target for solar stuff? In this case, I would probably go after homeowners in his geographic area. And then I would think about what's the symptom? Well, the symptom is the power bill. And obviously we mentioned if you can nail the symptom, the opposite is true. Like what kind of result do they want? Well, they want a low power bill or even no power bill if you can do that. The new and exciting way out, it's solar, get solar panels. And without the timer, in this case, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Steve talked about when you click on the link, they hit you up a little bit with some of the differentiating factors where basically part of what makes their solar company different is like they're going to stand behind it after they build it. Because sometimes, like, you know, you get a half-assed install, something breaks, you call the company, they're nowhere to be found. In their case, you know, they have some sort of guarantee they're going to stand behind whatever they built. They charge you a little more upfront, but they're actually going to be there after the fact. That's kind of the deal. By the way, like $60,000 in sales, like we're not talking about reaching millions of people. Like that's 4,600 people. So I'm not saying this is the only way you can do ads, but I think for most of you guys here, this will work so much better than all the things that you're told you have to do, which is, you know, I hear shit like all the time, like only scale your winners 20% a day. By the way, on my own Facebook ads, I've like 20x'd my ad spend in a day and not seen drops significant enough to stop running the ads. Like, yeah, okay, I might be getting $3 leads when I am spending $30 a day. And then when I change it to 400 a day, you know, yeah, the numbers go to like 550, but at 550, we're still making money. So let's, you know, keep running them. So that's pretty much the whole rant in a nutshell, is like really kind of think about that offer matrix, but thinking about having one great ad instead of 50 mediocre ads will make your performance on these things so much stronger, and you'll have just generally like less to do with it. If you guys get a chance to, I would highly recommend you read a book called Essentialism by Greg McKeown. But basically, that's kind of the approach that probably around 2017, 2018, I started applying to ads. And I'll tell you, we made a lot more money doing that. And more important than that is like, I hated ads less because, you know, all the painstaking minutia everybody says you have to do, you know, watch out for this and only change that and split test 47 images. Like the fastest way to lose is to try to come up with 47 images. And you know what we would do? I tried like for real, just like in the lawyer space, like I tried everything. Like there was a 1.5 year period where I ran ads with like cats and dogs with like briefcases and stuff like that, like, you know, kind of looking like lawyers or business people. And I realized after doing a lot of this shit, it's better just to have one demonstration of what you do than 50 stock ads that really don't say shit, or, you know, show people happy, or, you know, and they're staring at the phone not ringing and things like that. It's better to have one like really solid demonstration. So any questions about that? Because I know it's probably like a shorter rant, but I think it'll make your ads work better and give you guys a lot less to do.
Hey, Frankie.
Yeah.
Could you repeat that? I missed everything. Say, here's what we're going to talk about today.
Well, the short version is, Zane, is we're talking about a less but better approach to ads. And this is just kind of a little bit of my own journey of going through, of having, I don't know, when you first do ads, everybody tells you got to do all this shit. You got to split test this and blah, blah, blah. And the other thing too, with this kind of approach of just going all in on one ad to start with, is usually you can know by 50 or $100 whether or not the ad's going to work, right? Like if like, for example, if I spend $100 on traffic on this ad and nobody raises their hand and says, can you contact me about my solar services? Then what's going to really change if you spend 500 or 1,000? Usually not that much, right? So it allows you to like really manage your risk as well. But the big key, like I said, is like just giving yourself so much less to do than having to write a gazillion ads. Having said that, when you guys start to really scale, like when you start spending like $500,000 a day or more, you're going to have to split test and do all those things. But I think when you're anything less than $500 a day, which for most of us building a lifestyle agency, you really don't need to spend that much. Then there's no real point in doing all those things that everybody says, because all you'll do is just give yourself a bunch of work and create a bunch of mediocre ads. By the way, all of this is true as well if you decide to run this on YouTube, or you decide to run on Google, or you decide to run on the old TikTok, is that you're still going to have to nail the symptom, and you're still going to have to nail the after, or the result. You're still going to have to think about the new and exciting way out. You're still going to have to think about, you know, who you target. You're still going to have to think about the timer things. You're still going to have to think about the demonstration. Obviously, the demonstration will look different on TikTok because it'll be a video version of it instead of a, you know, a still picture. And obviously the point at which you reach them will probably be different. So you may offer them something different. Like if I'm interrupting them on Facebook, the offer will probably be just to opt into something. Or if I'm, you know, doing it on Google, I might try going straight to the sale. But nonetheless, like the principles never change across platform because people are the same across platform. I'm always amazed that people think like, you know, Tarek becomes a different person on LinkedIn than he is on Facebook, and that like, oh, you don't understand, Facebook's totally different. I'm like, I promise you, it's the same damn people using the other platform. You know, they might be in a different frame of mind, and therefore you have to kind of approach them a little bit differently based on where they're at that moment. But, you know, people are people across all these things. So any other questions about that, Zane? Like, that's the short version. I hope that helps.
Well, I think it was quite interesting to look at how a company can make, you know, I mean, make marketing work by really dialing into the thing that you have been talking about and teaching us all the way. Like, be clear about, you know, what you're offering, you know, and then pointing to what is needed out there, right? What they're kind of suffering from, and giving them a solution out. Like how you know, I mean, concise this can be done, like with a couple of sentences, right? Without all the babble.
Yeah. Can I ask you guys, there's a question I have for you here on that point is, what do you think the person is buying from this ad? Because if you understand this, all of your ads will get better, by the way.
Oh yeah, good question.
Anybody want to guess what they're buying here?
Savings, I think.
Say that again, Zane. I didn't hear you. Savings, but it's even, you're definitely on the ballpark, but I want to kind of refine that answer a little bit. The question is, are they buying their way into something or out of something?
Oh
yeah.
Out of buying the damn electric bill.
Bingo. And I'll tell you why this is so important, because this is not always true with low ticket sales. Like a lot of low ticket sales are often driven by curiosity. Like if I have a $7 ebook, I can just sell the ebook going, hey, you'll learn the secret to blah, 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 blah. And I can just have a bunch of curiosity hooks. And inside this book, you will discover and people will buy it. But when it comes to like a higher ticket sale, almost always exclusively, they are buying their way out of a present symptom that they do not enjoy. They are not buying their way into your solution. And I'll tell you why this is important, because which one of those two things do you think most people talk about? Do you think they talk about, you know, how much it sucks to lose business to another roofer? Or do you think they talk about how awesome their SEO is and how much money you're going to make from it? Right? So when you understand they're buying their way out of the electric bill and not into solar panels, then you'll do a really, really awesome job focusing on, I got to really point to that symptom that they do not like and show them how we can solve that. So like one that just kind of comes to mind, Margie's here. She's got no pants on, so she's hiding off camera. Her market, we were just doing a deep dive, like, I don't know, like 2 weeks ago or something like that. And they are insurance agents, and most insurance agents, this is how they get their business. They pick up the phone, and 100 times a day, they cold call somebody. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever done cold calls. I have for a little bit. You basically face like massive amounts of rejection, and you'd rather put a bullet in your head, and people hate you all day long. Like, fuck you, stop fucking calling here. Right. And can I please speak to so-and-so? No, sorry. And you get the runaround and people lie to you, and you just like, it's a terrible way to make a living. Right. it's important because if you approach it like trying to sell, hey, my awesome ABC 123 system, you'll miss the mark. But if you approach it like, hey, I figured out how you don't have to do all those cold calls all day long, or I can make you do a lot less of them, that's when the ears go up. How do you do that? And by the way, there's a litmus test that I use for these symptoms, and it's a combination of two questions. Anybody have an idea what those two questions might be? Because a lot of times, you know, there could be 10 symptoms, and you obviously don't want to guess and you know have to test 10 different symptoms, but there's a way to kind of like get an educated guess of how on point you are about that symptom.
What do you least like doing?
Yeah, that's certainly like you're kind of alluding to the first question in a way, Tarek, which is like how often are they dealing with this thing, right? So like a lot of times, a lot of people will bring something in their ads about like, hey, I figured out how to improve your website. Truth is though, like a dentist, how often do you think a dentist day to day is thinking about his website?
Yeah, don't give a shit about it.
Yeah, he doesn't give a shit about. Now compare that to like what Oral was saying, where, hey, I don't have a I don't have anybody to sit in the hygienist chair. Right? Like I'm paying a hygienist $80,000 a year to service someone, and there's no someone here. Right? That's something he's much more likely to be dealing with day to day. It's in his office, it's in his vicinity, right? So that's the first litmus question I ask myself is like, how often are they likely to be dealing with this symptom? Second question, by the way, is anybody want to take a stab at it?
How big is the problem? Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you're in the ballpark of like what I would look for is like, how emotional is this problem? Like, so I brush my teeth every day, usually, hopefully that's part of the plan. But I'm not emotional about brushing my teeth. I'm like, fucking goddamn it, brushing my teeth, right? So I'm not like looking to buy my way out of brushing my teeth. But take this one, for example. So the symptom we know is their electricity bill. How often are they dealing with it?
Every month.
Every month. And I would say even more frequently than that, because I don't know about you guys, but I have relatives and stuff that are like, turn off the light, you're wasting the electricity, close the fridge, you're wasting, don't put on the power, you're wasting electricity, right? So they're not necessarily thinking about it 24/7, but there's a daily experience where they're very aware of their electricity cost.
Yeah.
And then the next question I ask myself, like, how emotional is it? Well, if you've ever been yelled at for not turning off the lights by a parent, it's an emotional thing, right? Isn't it? Like, turn on. Ilka's parents are hilarious. Like, because in Germany, the water cost is high too. So they'll like yell at you to turn off the water. You'll save a nickel. Don't wash your hands fully, right? It's like, leave a little shit on there. I'd rather you have shit on your hands than waste an extra nickel, right? And so this kind of, to me, passes the test, right? Like if we didn't know whether they wanted to buy their way out of their power bill or not, we could say, well, they probably experience it a lot and it's emotional. So if you can nail those two things, by the way, like you'll find that ads work most of the time. And this is why you, if you want to focus on like really, really one place, this is the place you got to nail the most is the symptom. That's all I got for you guys in my rant. So if you guys don't have any other questions, Ross, you missed some good shit though. I'm just going to say, because this was pretty applicable to you.
I think Elvin's a show off with his beard, man. Holy cow.
Yeah, you need to grow one so you can become a part of the club with me and Ross.
I can't grow one like that.
Yeah, give it like 3 months, 6 months, 4 months, then you have one like this.
Maybe like 3 years.
Yeah, okay.
You know, Frankie, when it comes to this ad that we're looking at currently to learn from, first of all, appreciate you sharing that with us. I see that this Mark guy, he also basically like this thanks Mark thing. Is it like the customer saying thanks to him?
Yeah.
So it's a kind of quite nice way of kind of, indirectly letting them know that what they're looking at is being delivered, right? I mean, one thing is that you have, other thing I can see on this ad is that he's holding a couple of papers on one side, which actually shows them that there's a lot of bills there. On the other side, they have only one bill. Obviously, they didn't have Azure Mentor, so otherwise they would be focusing more on that. But that's kind of quite a kind of couple of other clues that they're putting in there.
Yeah.
Like thanks Mark is quite well designed to let them know, hey, we deliver and people say thanks and people get what they order basically.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, I mean, I don't think most people would believe that if you told them you could go from like cold traffic to 60 or to, in their case, by the way, they charge about $10,000 for like your average solar unit. Obviously, like there's bigger and smaller depending on the needs of the house. $10,000 probably about an average. But they sold 6 of these on $150 in ad spend. And as far as I know, I mean, they're still running it. But I don't think most people would believe you could go from cold traffic to $10,000 sale in about 12 words.
Yeah.
So I can ask specific questions about my situation. So if that's okay, and maybe it's context to this.
Yeah, please.
Talking about an ad, because I talked about this last week. I talked to Steve from Australia in between. He'll probably watch this later and say, hey, I saw you saying, whoa, hey, mate.
Yeah.
Anyway, I talked to Steve, and he had one really outstanding contribution, which was, my program right now is all about giving away travel to dealers so that they can get sales.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, you know what would really ice this for me, I could get totally behind this, is if you turn this around so you were just going after inventory instead of sales, because that's the big problem. But even more than that, actually putting this together with a kind of a pre-made landing page so that you could just, any dealer could just sign up and plug and play. So in other words, I would approach a dealer and say, okay, here's the deal. You can give away free trips, 5-day, 4-night cruises on one of the major cruise lines. You can give away a 7-day vacation to 3,500 resorts around the world. You can give away a trip to Las Vegas for 4 days for you and your wife. And it's absolutely not going to increase your cost per car. And we will assist you by putting up this landing page. So you can just direct people to the landing page. In turn, it's going to go straight to your dealership, and they're going to be, flooding your dealership with cars because, hey, they can get the same price that they can with somebody else, but they don't get this fantastic vacation to go with it. And now you've got a kind of a plug and play kind of thing. So I thought that was, so how would you, in context of what you're discussing right now, the pain points for them are they don't have enough inventory.
Yep.
And then how do they, and is it emotional? Yeah, it's really emotional because shit, they if they don't have enough stuff to sell, they're not making as much money as they could be making.
Yeah.
And so anyway.
Yeah, I think I do have some thoughts on that, Zane. Obviously, I always say, the number one thing is put it in front of the market. Like we're very good at coming up with educated guesses about what people will do, but of course, the market is the final decider. But as far as the symptom itself, like when you realize about 75% of the success or failure is buying their way out of the symptom. And I think one of the things that the whole COVID madness has created is a lot of markets have really been kind of flipped on their heads in ways. Like, for example, Hamoon here is in general contracting. He's got his dad does windows and doors. And one of the things I've heard a lot from general contractors is if you could go back 2 years ago and sell leads and more business to general contractors, that you would crush it. But most general contractors today are saying something along the lines of, I've got work for 3 months. I don't need leads. I can't keep up with the work I got. Like, why would I pay for leads when I hear my toddler screaming in the background? That's part of the ambiance, just so you guys know.
She's got as many leads as she needs.
And so if you show up and say leads, even though like, yeah, you know, we're the grow your business people, like you're basically just, for a lot of them, gonna get your you know, the door slammed in your face. And this is just part of ebb and flow of markets, right? Like this happens in real estate as well. Like there's periods where it's easy to sell a home, but really hard to get one under contract. And then there's periods where you can get all kinds of contract, but then they're much harder to sell, and there's, you know, a shortage of buyers and things like that. And there's a normal ebb and flow to that. And so, you know, one of the things I suggested to him is like, where I would focus is, if their problem is they're backed up on work, is I would focus on getting them qualified help to fulfill the work, because they don't care about leads, but they do care about like, I'm losing money and losing business because I can't service those people, right? And so in your case, if their symptom is that they don't have inventory, like that's where you got to really finger point. And I would probably take that a step deeper and ask myself like the question of like, how do they know they don't have enough inventory? Like what happens in their experience? Like, I know if you said to them, you don't have enough inventory, you know, they would know what you're talking about in your case. But I would take that even deeper and like try and come up with something like this that's a demonstration. Like maybe, for example, somebody walks into the dealership and says, hey, do you have one of those blank? And they say, sorry, no, I can't get cars right now. And so they just turn money away twice a day. But the more you can nail that symptom and start on that point to let them know, like, this is very, very true. Because like I said, it's even though your system is awesome, one of the hardest things to do is restrain yourself from talking about how cool your shit is. Because if you notice this ad, like it's a company called Solahart Fraser Coast. But if you look at like how cool is our solar and how awesome are we, like you barely even hear anything about the solar, right? It's about electricity bill. It's about the thing they want to get rid of. And so sometimes it takes restraint to not have to tell people like how awesome and how much detail you put into your system, and just to talk about like the before and after benefits. So in your case, that looks like, you know, probably in simple terms, like no cars on the lot and people asking to buy them, to getting some cars on the lot and getting some sales. And it's really just an afterthought to them that, hey, that sounds cool. You bribe them with some travel along the way. Does that make sense, Zane?
Yep.
But that's where I'd really hammer home, is like nail that symptom part of it, and they'll practically beg you to sell it. When you hit the right symptom, you know it, because it's like it goes from like hard to sell to suddenly like everybody wants what you got. And anybody else got any questions about applying like this kind of methodology to your own ads, or whether you're doing these as hand raisers and doing them organically? It's the same process, by the way. It's not really that different from an organic hand raiser to an ad. I'll tell you, like I said, the hardest part of this is showing restraint from like bragging about how cool your shit is. Like, who doesn't want to tell people like all the shit they figured out, right? Like if you figured out how to save somebody $360-ish on your electricity bill, isn't there a tendency to want to talk about like the carbon fibers and the mechanical system and the ABC and how great our installers are, and we've been in business 35 years, and you know how much they care about most of those things? Very, very little. But if you can say like, hey, like I can almost get rid of your electricity bill altogether for the rest of your life, or as long as you live in that home. Like, how would you like to just have $360 a month wiped out forever? That's a lot more exciting.
Yeah, Ranky, I showed up late, but so are you just saying who wants to like review an offer?
Just talking about, so the short version is Ross, is like kind of like an approach to ads that I came across in like 2018, that it was inspired by a guy named Brad And it was really, came from a place where I was running 8,000 split tests on Facebook and just frustrated with the misery and the tech and the ad manager and the, you know, I have 8,000 stock images, and started focusing on a essentialism idea of less but better, of just going all in on one ad, and then what you kind of need to nail in that one ad. That's kind of like the idea here. And
Okay.
then this is a little bit inspired by Steve, like I mentioned, who's, you know, this ad's doing $60,000 in sales every time they spend $150, and it's fucking 4 sentences long.
That's awesome. Okay.
But doing it, and then I mentioned as well, Ross, and I'm not saying like this is the only way to do it, but I write my best ads. When I think about doing just one really great ad and going all in on that at a time, at least, like, you know, if it doesn't work, obviously I would try another ad, but I write my best ads usually somewhere in nature or like on a whiteboard or a notepad, but usually they don't come from like being on a laptop cramped up typing.
No, I hear you.
So Hamoon asks, should I change my copy before I change my offer? Around 40 have seen my offer now, and there are no replies yet. So thought either I have to change my copy or change my offer along, since the market would want it. The copy wouldn't change much. I always change the offer before the copy. And the first thing I'll change is the symptom you pin it around. That's actually the thing, probably about 75% of what makes somebody emotional. Like, again, right, in this case, they're buying their way out of the electricity bill. So like, let's just say, for example, we ran this ad and it turns out they don't want to buy their way out of their electricity bill. What are some of the other benefits of solar that we could potentially position this around, like without changing the product or what we actually deliver? Can you guys think of anything else that we might put, like another symptom we might position this around? I mean, the electricity bill, obviously, we know this one works, but like, let's say we didn't know, what might be something else we might try?
Like the tree hugger approach of your green energy, or your
Bingo.
off grid. They're not reliant on somebody else.
Bingo.
Emergency prep.
By the way, even though like the deliverable is the same, if I say, here's how Mark went off grid and got off the system, that's a different offer to something, and a different person is going to respond to that as well. So if we send it out and it's not working, the biggest thing I'll just change is try another symptom. Because usually that's where you swing and miss, is like if you hit the right symptom, you know it. Like I can tell you, Ross, like just from having done this, lawyers have an underlying burning desire to be like successful, and that's why they became lawyers. And so they are super, super interested in what the other top lawyers are doing.
That's good. That's a good reminder. I'm writing some ads this week and redoing my Loom video. So thank you.
Yeah, and this is true, by the way, generally of other local businesses. Like as a general rule, they hate their competitors. And if you can finger point and name their competitors by name, it never really hurts in your copy. Right? Like I swear to God, if you just like let's say you're just pitching generic SEO and you say like, hey, I got generic SEO for you. If you say like, hey, Elvin, I'm pitching you generic SEO, that'll be like one response. And if you say, hey, Elvin, I'm pitching you generic SEO, and if you're not interested, that's totally cool, but I'm going to have to go to Hendrikus down the street. Let me know. You get a different response. He'll do it just because he doesn't want, you know, Hendrikus to have an advantage.
Exactly.
Nice.
But yeah, ask a lawyer who his top 2 or 3 competitors are. And what you'll never hear is, oh, I don't know who they are. Oh, they're fucking that guy over there, and he just a fucking TV guy down there, and this guy over here, fucking, he doesn't even try cases. The guy's not even a real fucking lawyer.
Sounds like really nice people.
Yeah. Believe it or not, though, they're kind of like us in more ways than you may realize, in that marketers and lawyers have this in common, that you inherit a shitty reputation, whether you earned it or not. Like everybody hates, you know, it doesn't matter what niche you're in, people hate marketers because marketers make promises and don't keep them. And people hate lawyers for like a different set of reasons, because they're assholey and can be cold and things like that. But there are good lawyers out there, and there are good marketers, but in a lot of cases they're fighting this unearned reputation.
Ricky, you think with a lawyer, if I say, you know, I'm going to work with somebody in your state, it might as well be you, kind of thing? Is that a sense of scarcity? Would that think that would trigger that emotion you were just describing?
It could. I mean, you could probably like take that to the next level of just saying like, you know, I'm going to produce this kind of result for a lawyer in the state. I'd like it to be you, but I would, you know, if necessary, it'll be somebody else.
Okay. I think I got to add that in. I reshot the Loom yesterday, but I watched it. I'm like, oh, I got to switch that. I made a typo in the slides. So
yeah,
if I'm going to reshoot it today, I got to get some of this stuff in there.
Just so you know, it'll never be 100% perfect. Like, you know, Dan Kennedy.
I'm shooting for 70% at this point.
All right, 70% is good. But you know, marketing in general and business is an iterative process. It's not just like a try it once and everything magically works. Every now and then, by the way, I run across somebody who built a business that just like magically worked the first time. And usually those people who like didn't come into it like us, who usually hit like struggle first and, you know, had to like learn some tough lessons. Inevitably what changes or like what happens is some aspect of the market changes and then they have no idea how to recapture it because they don't even know like what they really did.
Mm-hmm.
So like you know, for example, you know, I mentioned these guys before, but there was a CPA company a friend of mine got working with, and they also had a guy who worked with him who he was in Las Vegas. He was really good at SEO, and he owned all the limo searches in Las Vegas. And if you guys know anything about Vegas, like people should search for limos. And so every time somebody would search for limos, one of his little mini websites would come up, and then he would capture a lead and he would forward it to the limo companies, and there would be this buying frenzy with the leads. And so their company was actually doing $1 million per month in just
no way
crushing it
with limo leads,
just
wow.
selling leads. And then one day Google did an update. It was either Panda or Penguin, and they lost all their rankings essentially in about 24 hours.
Shit.
And they were out of business. And I haven't talked to them like in a couple of years, but I talked to them 5 years later or something like that, and they'd never recovered from that. And a big part of it was they didn't really figure out, you know, what they actually hit on, and they didn't understand like what actually made them successful. So they were never able to kind of duplicate their lightning in the bottle. In some ways, I think it's actually a blessing to take our road where you struggle with it, but you have to learn the fundamental principles that never change. And then if you do that, you like, it takes you longer to get there, but you come out of it like much more indestructible. Right? Because like for me, like even if I lost an SEO ranking, I could think of only 2,700 other ways to help a limo company if I still wanted to be in that market.
Yeah.
Anybody else, by the way, have one of those entrepreneurial friends that just like hit it big their first time? Like they're rare.
I know a guy that absolutely crushes it on Kickstarter, and just he jumped in once to help a client. Hey, let's see if we can get you funded on Kickstarter, and stumbled across a secret formula, and is just absolutely, he's the number one, like holds the top 3 spots on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. He's just the man.
That's really cool. Yeah, I kind of forgot about this place. I guess there's still a thing. Yeah, people are still raising funds with Kickstarter.
Yep.
I actually put a thing on Indiegogo to launch a documentary once, and I got about $40 for it. So that's nice. How much I know about that. But you know what I realized is I kind of thought if you put it up on there that like the site had enough of its own traffic and people would stumble onto your thing. But in actuality, the projects that are successful, at least the ones that I saw, put a lot of their own promotion into it. And then I'm like, fuck, if I'm going to do all that promotional work and do all that, I'm going to do it on my own website. I'm not going to do it on yours.
Yeah.
Not gonna just like pay you guys. I forget how much they take. I think like 10% or something, but I'm not gonna pay you guys a percentage if like I have to fucking do all the work and drive all the traffic.
Yeah, the format takes a chunk.
Yeah.
The guy I know, he also takes a chunk.
Yeah.
Of course, he helps them raise about twice what they ever thought they would raise, but yeah. Everyone takes a pretty big piece of the action when you do those.
I imagine that's actually a big part of his success is being able to identify what's going to work on the platform, because like we are amplifiers of success. We don't turn losers into winners. So like I imagine a big part of it is just knowing what kinds of things work and what kinds of things don't.
Yeah, he filters. You have to apply to work with him.
Yeah,
It's like, yeah, this thing, you just have to call it like that. That's just stupid. I can't raise money for a loser.
yeah.
So yeah, try again. He's like the ones that just take something that you already have and just improve it a little bit, you know, put Bluetooth in their shoes,
Yeah.
or make the luggage roll just a little bit faster, or, you know, a belt that's a little bit stronger. He's like, those are the ones that win every time.
Really? So like just minor improvements, but like people can wrap their head around them.
Yeah. Make a hammock that's just this, you know, just put a speaker in your hammock, or put a, you know, just something that I already understand and know, belt, shoes, backpack, hat, and add something to it that wasn't there before.
That's interesting. It makes me think of The Simpsons when Marge got a frying pan radio.
I haven't seen that one.
It's the one where they get the dog, the Santa's little helper.
Yeah.
And Bart fills out a credit card online and gets a credit card in the dog's name and just starts buying stuff randomly. And he buys his mom a frying pan radio.
Love it.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, cool. Well, I think that's probably enough about the ads. Ross, I would tell you in particular, I'll probably just go back and watch the first 15 minutes because it'll be, I think, useful for all the ad stuff you're running.
Thank you. I will.
What else we got, folks? Otherwise, you're gonna have to watch me scratch my afro with a.
Kyle's not here today, is he?
He was here for like 10 minutes earlier.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nobody. That means you guys are all crushing it right now. You know, just as a general rule, we want to be in the business of making cool shit happen, not waiting for it. I'll tell you one of the things that separates us from most people is most people say, wait and good things will come. We are go make good things happen. You know, I actually just have a conversation going right now about running a back-end campaign for Perry Marshall. I got in touch with his CEO, is a guy named David. Actually, you know, you're friends with him on Facebook, Ross. I don't know if you actually know the guy or not, but I might name drop you if you do.
What's his name? David
Nadler, I think.
If I am, I'm not super close, but I'll look.
Okay. Well, if you're not super close, then you know, don't lose too much sleep over it. But those things don't happen organically. Like I'm outreaching. I'm like,
yeah,
you know, put myself in the crosshairs, if you will, risking rejection and all those things that come with it. He could have said, "Fuck you, burn in hell." I would never do that with you.
Oh, he's it's not like we've done lunch or anything, but he's in the same group of all my Infusionsoft certified partner friends. That's where I know him from.
Okay. I'm gonna bring that up then.
Yep.
Confusionsoft.
It's amazing they're still going on, to be honest.
But I'll tell you that you want to know how legitimate a company is. Like you can, if you just go into the companies that use Infusionsoft, you'd be amazed at how many of those are like players. Because you know, if they're at a high level, like I want the best, and usually they need, if they have Confusionsoft, they need a whole person dedicated just to being able to do shit with it. So there's like a, you know, $50,000-$60,000 a year employee on payroll just to.
Is it really that difficult?
I don't know if like, I think most of us here could figure it out, but like a lot of times, like for example, like when I worked with Pilma, they used Infusionsoft, and they run lawyer conferences. They're not tech people, like, and they run law firms. So like they get into Infusionsoft and has like 800 bells and whistles, and it's not self-explanatory, and they're just like, can I get somebody to do this? And I'm sure they could figure it out if they spend enough time, but usually they're too busy to do that. And they're like, can I just pay someone to make the machine do what I want it to do? If you guys, anybody here, by the way, use ActiveCampaign? Anybody an ActiveCampaign user?
Yeah, I'm a partner there too.
It's very similar. It's like it's the ActiveCampaign and Infusionsoft have about 90% of the same capabilities. But even like if you've ever used ActiveCampaign, just like mapping out campaigns and stuff like that may come intuitively to somebody who's like a laptop entrepreneur. But imagine somebody who's like a real world business owner.
Yeah, it blows their mind.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like High Level. It's actually also not super easy in the beginning.
Yeah. How are you guys using High Level, by the way? Like, have you found it to be useful for
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. So it's sending mails. It's the
for what most of us do.
Mails, texts, landing page builder, surveys.
Yeah, everything top of funnel. Like when people ask me, just because I've been in Infusionsoft for so long in ActiveCampaign, they're like, what's the difference? I'm like, Infusionsoft will automate your business. High Level will automate all of your marketing, especially the top of the funnel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's not really good for fulfillment.
No,
but it's good to have like a CRM where you can kind of get people in and manage them, and then you need to have some kind of fulfillment afterwards.
Yeah, I've seen it too, where you can do it. Like, what I liked about it is like multi-channel, because I found like if you text somebody and email them, they're more likely to read the email and the text because they see you two places. Like it enhances the effectiveness. I have a friend, Dave, who does a ton with email. He's like the make millions on your e-commerce store by sending emails guy. And he told me every time he runs ads, he gets more opens on his email.
Makes sense.
Right? Because they see a two channel. So
yeah,
I think that's one of the cool things about High Level is you can keep all that organized and easy, where you can send somebody a text message and say, I'll send you an email, and then they get a voicemail, and all of a sudden now they've seen you in 3 different media. I've realized this, by the way. This is part of the reason I created this kind of omnipresence thing, because I realized people who are like spammers that you don't want to reach you usually only have one way to contact you, just like your email. Like they'll spam your email and say, like, buy some Viagra or penis enlargement. I assume you guys are getting those. Probably that's because they've done their targeting research. There's a joke. But that's it, right? Like once they email, and they usually only email you once, right? Like once, done. And I realized that the people you do want to reach you always have multiple channels. Like I just hung with my friend Rob here in Cabo. Just think about it. Rob has my email. Rob has my text number. Rob has my WhatsApp. Rob has my Telegram. Rob has me on Facebook. And if he sent fucking smoke signals, I would probably know it was him, right? Like there's just a lot of ways to reach you. And I realize real relationships often go across channels. So the more you can use High Level for that, I think that's one of the smartest functionalities for that. Yeah. By the way, I think I put it in the members area somewhere, but we have templates for a couple of things on High Level that are just from other members. The one I actually like the most is Lana was doing for her yoga people. She found that if she generated a phone call, the businesses had no idea how to handle the phone call because they're just generally shit at that.
Yeah.
And so what she was doing is just having them go right to the calendar and book and walk into the business. And then when they walk into a yoga studio, I think that methodology that phoneless booking can be applied to most niches. Like what's going to be better for a dentist if you generate a phone call that his front desk doesn't know how to handle, or if somebody just books a checkup on the calendar and shows up and gets all the reminders.
Yeah.
So is her set up in that?
I'm just looking, and actually, I realize it's not there, but I'm going to add it after this call. I'll put the templates for you guys in there. I'll put it in the bonus section, somewhere near the bottom.
One of the cool things also about High Level is that you can do drip text messages. So if you have like a list of 2,000 people, but you don't want to overwhelm people or the business owner, you can just set it to only send 200 a day, and then just start, and then it will only send 200 each day. So the company actually can handle the traffic coming in.
Yeah.
That's neat.
I'll tell you one thing I've done with ActiveCampaign. So I had a client who had an old list of people, and we were working on reactivating them. And so I wrote an email campaign. This is like one of my favorite screw ups, because you guys screw things up from time to time. So I put in all the emails and I set them scheduled to run, and I saved them, but I didn't know this in ActiveCampaign. If you leave and come back, it doesn't save the scheduled date.
Oh shit.
So I just clicked send on all of them, thinking they get one today and one in 4 days and whatever. And instead I just sent them 30 emails, and they had done business with the company and not heard of them. And they knew who they are, but like they hadn't heard from them in years. So I had to like tread very carefully, at least I thought. Instead, I just like bukkake them 30 emails at once. Got a bunch of angry unsubscribes. I was like, sorry, guys.
Did they sell anything?
They did, actually. They probably pissed off more people than they sold. They weren't super happy about that.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Call that a list cleaning exercise.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
So what do you guys got going on this week? Who's got something immediate?
Honestly, I just got to get, I've been working on the Loom, the landing page and stuff for selling cases instead of selling leads.
Yeah.
Super stoked to actually get that in front of some cold traffic to see how that resonates.
Yeah.
To me, it makes all the sense in the world, of course. And lawyers say that would be cool. But when push comes to shove and actually, hey, let's do this. I'm very anxious to get that one sold and proven, because that will change a lot of stuff in my business. Same business model, but drastically increase margins.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle's actually working towards like a very similar thing. It's like you can have $100,000 a month agency with like 3 to 5 clients if you do that, right? Because you can start them with like, hey, let's start with a package of 1,000 leads or $1,000 or 5,000 or 10, or just like, something that represents a small amount for them, and then as long as the upside is there, get bigger and bigger and bigger if they're happy with it. So like the potential for that is huge. Where I think that the challenge for you will be in that is just being thorough in the plan, because the believability is going to be a big part of that, right? Like everybody wants cases, but that doesn't mean they believe you can generate cases. So you have to like be really, here's how we're going to bring cases in the door.
Okay. So on that, because that is something I've been thinking about, because it's brand new. I don't have like a case study testimonial that says this. So what I decided to do was a risk reversal, and tell me if I'm crazy, please, honestly, give me like harsh feedback. I'm like, okay, you don't pay me anything. You will literally give me $0 until I bring you your first case. Then you will pay for it. You have nothing to risk. So if I don't perform, you'll never see a case. You'll never give me money. When I do, I'll have your credit card on file, and then I charge you. Is that enough risk reversal, or would that overcome that emotion?
Yes, but I'll tell you, I just want to add something to that I think will make your life easier.
Yes, please.
So this is a friend of mine named Seth Price. He owns a big Washington, DC firm called Price Benowitz.
Okay.
So he's this guy here, and he's got a partner. This is actually really common in law, by the way. David Benowitz is actually the lawyer who actually like does law and runs the law firm, and Seth's basically just a lawyer in name only. He like doesn't do cases. He's just a marketer with a law degree.
Nice.
So they're one of the biggest. I think that they're not the biggest law firm in Washington, DC. They're one of the biggest, right? Like this is just all their lawyers, and then if you count like associates and paralegals, they're like a 300-person law firm kind of thing, right?
Nice.
And Seth said he originally built the success of the firm up through like just domination of SEO. That was his thing. But he said he really liked hiring American workers because it was just easier than like, foreigners and trying to fix English and things like that. And they could be local, but he said he could never afford to pay him top dollar and he would lose them to other business and other agencies and all kinds of things. So one day he said, I started an agency where I could have people work 50% on my law firm and 50% on other people's law firm. And Seth has also built probably the biggest agency actually I know in real life. Like they're doing 500,000 a month easily. No, actually probably more than that. He told me they have 300 clients or so. And I know for a fact they charge 10 grand a month. So do the math about that. Or like, nice. And so one of the things is when I was doing this retargeting stuff starting out, like, and I want to, like expand it. One of the first things I do is I know that if I have like a really high profile case study, that'll do more for me than, just me saying it's cool, right? Like what's going to be more powerful? Frankie Finn says I came up with a new system, or let me show you what Price Benowitz is doing in DC. And for those of you guys who aren't in this niche, Price Benowitz has some name recognition where like not every law firm everywhere will know who they are, but a lot of them will. Like a lot of them will go, shit. Like I actually remember one of my clients in Michigan was like, I flew down to Seth's office like just to see how they run their shit. And she's like, do you know who that guy is? And of course I know who he is. So I reached out to him with the same kind of offer you're talking about, like, hey, Seth, let me just do this for free. We don't have to talk any money. Like, I just basically want to use you as a case study, blah, blah, blah. He's actually paying me now. Like I'm doing 25 websites for him now with like this massive, massive amount of retargeting.
Nice.
But having said that, when I first reach out to him, it's the same kind of like, I'll do it for free. Now, having said that, when I do that, I don't typically, like, I've learned from this, like, I don't beg just any random stranger, like, I'll take all the risk and blah, blah, blah. I was very strategic about like, I'm going to give this to a shoe store. Like, this is essentially what I'm doing. Like, you think about the shoe buyers concept, like Seth is a source of shoe buyers because he has hundreds and hundreds of his own clients. So my thinking is there's multiple ways I can win. One way would be what actually happened. I give this to Seth. He says, I got 25 other websites. I'll pay you for the 25 other websites, right? That's way number one I can win on this deal. Way number two is he's got 300 other clients. He can refer me. He goes to all the conferences. So he's connected. Like if he refers me and is happy with the service and I open that door, there's like a million ways I can win. A third way I can win is like if I run a Facebook ad or a YouTube ad or whatever, and I say, here's a case study of what we're doing for Price Benowitz. Like a lot of the top law firms are going to go, hey, I know Seth. I want to see what they're doing, right? So there's a lot of ways for me to win with that. And I'll tell you, every time I've gone from like zero to a lot of clients, it's because like some sort of power partner blew me up. And oftentimes I would be like running ads to get to the power partner. But once I found the power partner blew me up faster than the ads. And so in my case, like I've reached out very, very strategically to somebody like that. So my thinking is like, yes, that's a good idea, but I wouldn't just do that randomly for any law firm. I would handpick who you're going to do it for. So I just think about like, who are some of the top law firms that have the name recognition, who's connected, who's a shoe store, who's somebody that if I did this for could then like, you want to think chess and not checkers, where you're not just like, hey, I'll take on all the risk and do that. I'm like, no, I'm going to do this very, very strategically. So that would be just the one caveat I would add. I wouldn't just randomly tell any law firm anywhere, like, don't pay me until after it works. I would like, like in your case, like Craig Swap is somebody that I might reach out to because, he's the one call, that's all, right? Like he's big in Utah. I think he's probably the biggest in Utah, right? Like you would know better than I would.
Yeah, he is. He's the biggest in Utah. The only thing that sucks is that the response for MVA cases in Utah is horrid.
Yeah.
Like it's so hard.
Yeah.
The client I have that covers Utah, the only reason I cover Utah is because he covers 10 other states also. So I just throw Utah in there. But I hear what you're saying though. Pick a power partner, handpick one, go to them with that as a special offer.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can be very clear. Like, I'm not just doing this for anybody. Like I'm doing this because you are a premier law firm and I want the name recognition to case study, and I tell them the truth. Like, I'm going to work my nuts off because it's in my best interest to make sure
Yeah.
you win with this. And so I would just hand pick somebody. But yes, absolutely. I think that's a very smart thing to do. And then of course, like, you know, say for example, you go one state over to Nevada and you do it for Richard Harris. That's another big, I don't know if he's the biggest in Vegas, but he's one of the bigger ones. Like, he might be somebody else I would reach out to. But like, you know, say you do it for somebody like that, again, it's gonna have more name recognition when you have like a top lawyer. You can show a case study, those kind of things. And you're dealing with a situation where I like the way you're thinking a lot, Ross, because you're thinking like investor mindset, right? Like when you think of yourself as a service provider, you go, just how can I get as many clients as possible? And then that's how you drown yourself in fucking work. If you think about it as an investor, you're saying, I want to get clients where my upside is like, these guys can pay me 20, 30, 40, $50,000 a month for leads.
Yep.
And I'm going to take on some risk in that process because I know how big the upside is. So how can I manage that risk small? And let's like do a small little test where I'll take on a little bit of financial risk. But I know if I'm right, the client can be worth like, you know, 20 grand a month. I mean, if you got 4 clients paying you 20 to 30 grand a month, like how many fucking clients you need? You can have $1 million agency with 4 fucking clients, right? So
Time at all.
so like just be very like hand selecty on that. Like, it's very interesting when people usually do outreach in the beginning. The first thing they do with outreach is just try and get anybody. Like, it's like, hey, just any dentist anywhere who's interested. And then after they graduate past outreach, they start using more organic, like ads pull you in, like things that are more kind of like what I would call feminine mojo, like more like suck you in and seduce you kind of things. And then eventually they go back to doing outreach. But when you go back to doing outreach, it's very, very hand selected. Like when I just got in the conversation with David Nadler at Perry Marshall, like that's not random, right? Like I outreach to him, but I'm not like I'm not sending like, if I send 5,000 outreach messages to marketers every day, maybe one will respond to me. I'm like, you know, Perry Marshall's probably got a huge fucking list of people. And if we can do a little deal together and it goes well, I bet you we could do like multiple millions a year just from like mailing his list, the courses he's already created. And so again, I'm thinking like maximum upside, minimum downside. And so like what I propose to them is like a direct mail test of like 500 names. And then that for me, the direct mail list will cost me $500. So the downside, if I'm wrong, $500. The upside, if I'm right, could be like anywhere from like 1 to 10 million a year. So that's how I like approach those. I approach those as an investor, not as like a, please, anyone try my service, right? I'm thinking like who's strategically could be like huge upside. I'll take on the risk now upfront, but you know, I know I can be paid later. And if you just do like 3 or 4 of those deals, at least worst case scenario, you'll have one of them, and best case scenario, you may have all 4 of them.
Yeah. Slight change in topic, not too far. Still very selfish here. How, just because you've been in the legal space longer, do you know anybody else who's selling signed cases, like the signed packet, signed contract, whatever they want to call it? Like I'm Googling and researching, and I have found word that there's one other company doing it. And I want to know if there's anybody else.
I've heard a little about it in masterminds, but I don't necessarily know anyone off the top of my head. Probably, you know, it'll be one of those things where it'll be new and exciting for like 2-3 years. And then a bunch of other marketers will find out Ross is having success guaranteeing cases, and 1,000 assholes will copy you, and they'll ruin it, but you'll have enough clients by then that you'll have a stable foothold, and it won't matter that, you know, your marketing message has been diluted.
Okay, cool. That was, thanks for both of those. Thank you.
Yeah.
Frankie.
But yeah, that's really, really key. Is I'm just going to say like hand select. Don't just say like anyone, anywhere, I'll take all the risk. Cause then you'll end up just with somebody who, you know, sucks on your dime basically. Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Take care, Hendrikus. Go to kick ass. I like that.
All right, that was a lot of selfish time on me. I will slide to the background, let someone else take over.
Terrible.
You know, it's really nice, Ross, that you do it, because even if it's not applicable to me, I'm really listening to what Frankie is saying and the mindset behind it. So even if it's not directly applicable, it's really helpful anyway. So don't
Yeah.
Thank you.
don't hold
Yeah,
yourself.
I find that we're all coming from like similar places. A lot of times, like, I've joined a couple of different programs over the years, and a lot of times the things I benefited from most were the questions other people asked. Sometimes, like, for example, like I remember I was in a mastermind, and I'm like, I want to get to my first million. That was like my big focus. And there was another person in the group, and they got around to them, and they said, "What's your goal?" And they said, "Well, we're doing like 4 or 5 million a year, but what we really want to do is take it to 30." And I went to like, like, what? You guys are already doing 4 and you're like trying to get to 30? Holy shit. Like, it just stretched my sense of possibility by just even asking the question, right? Like, it was like, holy shit, like, here I am thinking it's a struggle for get to here from here to there, and they're already doing it at such a high level that and I can't tell you the number of times that you can benefit from other people's questions, so you don't have to feel bad about being a selfish wizard is all I'm saying.
Thank you.
Bearded wizard. Yeah. Yeah, but I think I need to go grab a little bit of to eat as well. So thank you so much for today, guys.
All right. Take care, Alvin.
Good to see you, man.
Take care.
I love the new space, by the way, that you do your calls from. Like, it's really cool to have the glass kind of outdoory thing.
Yeah, it's
Sun.
it's
I would call it a
it's
sunroom, but
warm
you're in
enough
Denmark.
now. Say what?
I would call it a sunroom, but you're in Denmark, so it's like a cloud room.
It's a cloud room. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, funny.
Always cloudy. Always.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Take care, guys.
All right. See you, brother.
See
See
you.
you, man.
You got anything else, Ross? I think Tarek's in the background, so we could talk longer if you want.
Oh man. So let me ask you this: how do you pick the best of the best shoe buyers? Do you just go look at their websites?
That's a good question. I'll tell you, if I was to pick one thing to find the best of the best shoe buyers,
Yep.
it would probably be one of two things: is who goes to the conferences and who spends on TV.
Conferences.
You can actually find the TV ads. You can find out who the TV spenders are without actually like having to buy a list if you don't need to do that, by just
Okay.
Googling like TV commercial. Because like I would say 90% of the lawyers who are on TV also post their TV commercials to their YouTube channel unedited.
Okay.
Like, I'll give you an example. Okay. This is a guy I've been trying to get with Corey here. Oh, am I sharing screen? I don't think I'm sharing screen.
Not yet.
Let me just pull it up. So this is like the top law firm in Michigan, top injury firm, Mike Morse. He'd actually be somebody I would reach out to, although I think Kyle already beat you to the punch on that.
Okay.
But like, for example, whoops, I'm not trying to report their YouTube. I'm just trying to move shit. You see, they post here's my Super Bowl commercial. Here's Mike Law commercial. He's got 66 commercials. So like, I know he runs commercials on TV, at least 66 of them. And that to me tells me he's spending at least hundreds of thousands of dollars every month. Just the fact that there's 66 of them, right?
Yeah. Okay. You just search. Oh, you search for the firm name commercial.
Yeah, but I might just search, in different, like, you could just use Google for it. Let's just see. I'll go youtube.com. And let's pick a state. Let's just go Utah just to see who it.
California or Utah. It's fine.
We're just picking. YouTube is a good way to test it. Another thing, actually, a lot of times you could probably just Google like a simple phrase, like it wouldn't be a perfect, but usually the shoe buyers are going to be the ones like near the top paying Like, I don't know who the advocates or Robert J.
Yeah,
DeBride,
they're big ones here.
but I would just check out, like, looking into them. If they have that many reviews, that tells me at least there's volume, right? Like, you don't get, if you have 760 reviews, at a bare fucking minimum, you had to have 760 clients, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You
And
have
so that
3,000
tells-
clients at least.
It tells me those clients are coming from somewhere, right? So, like, you know, that alone can actually tell you just like who has reviews and things like that. Just gonna see. I'm gonna search in South Carolina because that's a state I know as well, like pretty well. Goings Law Office, Kenneth B. Berger. The biggest is a guy named George Sink, which I don't see on here. But even still, like, for example, I might just, like, you know, you could probably have a virtual assistant do this, but I might verify like 2 points of data. So if I click on their website, like, here's the first thing I look at, like, believe it or not, this picture tells me a lot about this law firm, right?
Yeah, they get a lot of staff.
Yeah, if they were a tiny little law firm, there'd just be one dude. Right? Like,
Yep.
come to Ross J. Walker, and there's no and associates. There's just Ross. So
Yeah.
the fact that there's like 20 lawyers tells me they have to have enough flow to have 20 lawyers. That doesn't automatically make them shoe buyers, but it's usually a good indicator. Like, they probably didn't do it, you know, just from networking.
Well, I've got a list of shoe buyers. I've already got that. I got like, well, it's not nationwide, but I've got like 100 or 150 shoe buyers. So I can just quickly click through some websites and even do that. Just like, hey, how big is this staff?
Yeah.
Do they have a YouTube channel? What's on there?
So let's do this. Like, I'm going to click on, let's do Joy Law Firm and just see what comes up. See, even the fact that they've got 137 videos, which is a lot for a law firm, tells me they're putting into there. So there's testimonials and commercials. So I can tell these guys are on TV just from looking at this. I don't know if you can tell this.
Yep.
Especially, I'll tell you one of the dead giveaways. How long are TV commercials? Do you know?
30 seconds.
How long is this video?
31. Right
31,
there.
31, 31.
Hey, that's the dude from OCC
yeah.
for motorcycle law. Interesting.
So this might be like somebody I would reach out to if I felt good about them as a fit, because you want them to, like, they have to be good enough to answer the phone and like actually convert it to cases, right? So like, you don't want to get
Yeah.
yourself in a situation where like, I'm just paying to generate leads that you can't fucking do anything with.
So along with your snail mail, let's say you wanted to target Joy.
Yep.
Where are you approaching?
I would probably do the snail mail, or I might connect with him like personally, whoever the boss man is. Like, I don't actually know, but let's just close a few of these.
See if we can figure it out.
So let's just Google them. I'm going to pre-search so I earn a little crypto for this. Feel a little better if I earn like 6 cents.
There you go.
Joy Law Firm, South Carolina. Okay, so the first thing I want to know is who's the boss man, right? Like, I'm not going to just randomly reach out to anybody. So like, their website looks a little confusing, but let's just see. Usually our founder, there we go. Like, usually they have a page. So Reese Joy. So that might be one of the first things I do is just see how I reach.
There was something on that page about 2008. Is he dead?
Oh yeah. Okay. I guess we don't want to contact a dead guy. Good call,
Let's get
Ross.
back.
Good call. Okay. Well, he's got a son. Usually the first
There
guy.
we go, same last name. Now we got a winner.
Yeah. But I mean, there's multiple ways you can do it, right? Like, so I don't ever want to tell you like there's only one way that works.
No, I'm just curious how you do it.
So here's one. He's on LinkedIn, so I might try on LinkedIn. I'd be curious to see if he's on Facebook too. Let's just check. Mark Joyner. Doesn't look like it. You can see my Simpsons reference. I might add, sometimes that happens, like older lawyers just aren't going to be there.
Yeah.
So like all things considering, like to me, like the probably easiest way is just like looking at this, probably going to be the direct mail, but it does look like he is on LinkedIn. Like we can connect with
Got
him.
him there. At least then we can get a photo so we can see if we can find him on Facebook. I've done that.
And by the way, depending on how fast they confirm, the LinkedIn tells me whether or not they use it.
Yeah.
Like if he confirms me 2 months later, I'm not going to send him a message on LinkedIn. But if he confirms me within a day or two, then I know he actually uses it. Some of the lawyers will use it for networking, some don't.
Yep.
But here, he's got contact info. I guess it just says his profile, so that doesn't do us any good. Other thing too is like if you want to, sometimes you can look and see like, okay, we got mutual connections. So like Mickey Love is somebody I know who knows him. So I might message Mickey and say like, hey, I'm trying to connect with Mark Joy. Like what's the best way to reach Mark? Do you think you could do a little introduction for me? That might be another way as well. But if you don't have it, like I'm all for just like send him a fucking letter in the mail and say like, Mark, I'm reaching out to you guys specifically because you're all over the state of South Carolina. You guys are badass. And I have a way for you guys to pick up signed cases. I know you got like, the more you can be specific about them too, right? Like if I'm writing a letter, I'll say, hey, I know you guys practice in Columbia, North Charleston, Clinton, Myrtle Beach, Somerville, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Like the more it can be like a letter written to them. And of course, the next guy can say, I know you practice in Los Angeles, San Diego, right?
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, that's generally how I do it, by the way, Ross. When I'm coming up with something new where I'm trying to get somebody to do it, I take on the risk. I say, I'll do the work first and get paid second. And I choose my partners strategically.
Yeah.
Once I have one guy and I can show like now that I have a Seth Price and I can show a gazillion results, and I can say, like, look at what we've done for Price Benowitz. Like, we're just crushing it across the board for him. When that's the case, then I'm just like, no, you're going to pay me now, right? Because we've got the proof of concept.
Yeah.
But people ask me that. I don't do first dates for free. It depends on where we're at in the journey. If I have no proof of concept, then I'm going to ask you to pay me second. If I do have proof of concept, then you're going to pay me first.
Okay.
Got it.
But yeah, as for your original question, I do not think it's a bad idea at all. But usually this is a good giveaway that you're on the right track, that they're TV spenders, is they got a bunch of 30-second. I don't know how you would search for a 30-second video, but when they're exactly 30 seconds long, these are all commercials, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I've
When
seen
was the
this
last
guy
one
before.
uploaded?
I don't know who this one is.
It's the OCC, Paul, whatever.
Yeah. But yeah.
I could probably jump from there and find more in the suggested right-hand column.
If you feel like, because I like to pick my hand select my partners, but if you feel like just spending a couple of bucks and not necessarily hand selecting, but just knowing that if you go after, TV shoe buyers, it's giving me this because I'm in Mexico. There used to be a company called Info USA that they're the mailing list providers. They're now called Data Axle. I'd be willing to bet a lot of money that they have a list of all the lawyers who are advertising on TV if you want, or like a partial list if you just want to buy a partial list.
Yeah. I didn't know Info USA changed to that one, so I'll check that out too.
That's because we're old, Ross. We're getting up there.
Right.
I have grays in my beard too.
Good on you. That's Chrome.
But yeah, I would, if I was in your shoes and trying to get it, like, remember, you're going after the lawyers who have $20,000 a month or more of upside. Like, and so it's not, if there's a single bankruptcy lawyer in, I don't know, Frog Balls, Arkansas, like you're just not going to ever get there with him. So like you want to hand select the personal injury firms that, and the other thing is the firms with 20, 30, 40 people, they need like the upside for them is just much bigger, right? Because like they have, like if you've ever been in their shoes where you have a bunch of employees, you think about making payroll constantly. And personal injury is an interesting niche because, you know, it's a difficult cash flow niche because, like, as we've mentioned, even though they make a bunch of money, they get paid often 6 to 18 months later. So I'm sure you've heard lawyers say, you know, I got 10 million in the streets, or they'll talk about money they have in the streets, meaning this is what I expect to earn over the next 6 to 18 months as my case is settled. But until then, I don't know how to keep the lights on. And they can be doing
I have no idea how I'm going to make tomorrow's bill.
Exactly. They could be making 10 million a year. And so they're like, I need these cases to come in. I need case flow. So there's a lot of reasons why they'll want your case flow. Because every now and then too, they'll take a case that will settle quickly and will alleviate a lot of their cash flow issues, right? So they're always looking for something on that front. So that's my way of saying, like, you know, if they got 20 people, they need to be able to make payroll for 20 people, right? It's a very front of mind thing.
All right. I got to run to get my 10:30. Frankie,
All right,
as always, it's my pleasure.
See you, brother.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Tarek, my man, it's just you and me sitting here. The most attractive people are left.
Well, Frankie, this data Axle thing, just a quick question here. Do they actually do they look at like how much turnover these companies have? Like, can you choose based on turnover?
I believe they have an idea of like their earnings. I don't know how accurate it is, but I believe they're the most accurate like mailing list provider, because in America, all that stuff's public.
Okay.
Like, you know, the credit card companies know how much you're spending, and like there's just a lot of reference points they have access to. I don't actually usually buy my lists. I usually like make my own, so I can't say with 100% certainty, but I have friends who've used them and speak very highly of it.
Okay. I saw that like that lawyer that looked at for Ross. Now they were kind of a part of an association kind of, and you know, in LinkedIn, when we went into LinkedIn, we saw that he was part of an association.
Yeah.
And it kind of tells me that like a lot of companies, they kind of join associations that kind of to get some kind of, I don't know, clutter out there or get some respect.
We are going to do a little test right here and see if these guys.
Cool.
Can you get me a quote? Whoops. There we go. Let's try that again. There we go. Let's see what they come back with.
Yeah. That would really help Ross out. Wonderful. Hey, Frankie, thank you for sharing that ad. It was, I think it was it was really, really good to see an example of how good that can be done.
Yeah.
You know, it was seriously so good to actually see this. I mean, one thing is to hear about like pinpointing and being concise about what you need to do, but other thing is seeing that in reality, like seeing it, right? I mean, that was quite amazing. I appreciate that.
Glad you liked it, my friend. Yeah, you know, for me, it was like a lot of doing what everybody says you have to do, and hating the process to like now I could just focus on one really short, punchy ad and really, you know, nail the details, and life would get easier. And I think there's some magic to that because it takes the misery out of what most people do.
Absolutely. And what I noticed, what I actually kind of wrote down now, obviously, is that like we take money. Now we take the risk when we don't have proof of concept. But once we do, then basically we take the money first.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Because the thing is that we are kind of launching a certification option, and there's a training involved, and obviously building assets. And then the question is that would you want to give the training away free for a month, or would we want to actually have money up front, right?
Yeah.
And that's where I'm going to apply it, because I'm going to basically, from what I learned today, I'm going to basically tell them, hey, try it out for a month and see if that helps you. If it helps you, then basically we can keep on going.
Yep.
Yeah, appreciate it.
A lot of people say, oh, never take the risk and all that. But I'll tell you, the more you can manage high amounts of risk as an entrepreneur, the more money you'll make. Right? Like, I'm taking all the risk in this Price Benowitz deal.
Yeah.
But the upside on it is massive for me. So like, like people say, like, I hear SEO people say, like, you can't guarantee results and blah, blah, blah. You get paid up front. And I'm like, well, that's the surest way to have a hard time getting SEO clients and getting a hard time getting proof of concept and the hard time moving the needle. And there was a company actually, when I probably still a thing, I'm going to just search right now. I'm going to just see if they're up there. So this company, this company actually, and I don't know, it looks like they're still a thing, but they disrupted my industry. And they're called Rank Pay. And the idea is really, really simple. Is everybody else says, give me money and I'll do some SEO for you. And they say, we'll do the SEO. And then as you start ranking for keywords, you pay this much per keyword.
Upside down.
Upside down. So we get paid second. And of course, what happens is people say, well, you can't guarantee it could be competitive and blah, blah, blah. And you're right. But you know how they manage that risk? They cherry pick the clients they know are going to be easy to rank.
Oh.
Right? They don't just take any client and go, I'm going to rank any keyword anywhere. They're like, shit, like this guy's got an easy market. I can rank him in 5 minutes. Sure. Okay. I'll get paid after.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. But when they first came in, like everybody, I remember there was a period where for like 6 months, all I could hear about was these guys. And it's all they did is just reverse the risk paradigm.
Yeah.
So
reverse the risk. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, right? Because frankly, I mean, when we're talking about like pinpointing or pointing towards the symptoms, that's I mean, the problem they're having, right, is basically kind of one way or another to be able to kind of take the risk to solve the problem. That actually kind of opens up for them to have a discussion with you. And once you have done it, as you mentioned, then you can just tell me, hey, I've done it across so many clients, right?
Yeah.
And then your business is going. So this is kind of what I liked about what you have taught us till now is that one thing that I always kept thinking about is that you taught that it's always important to get into conversation, right? The person who's getting into the conversation with clients are going to win more clients. And you gave the example of Henriquez, right? Being a person who's probably, who's having more conversations. He'll get more ladies than a person who kind of gets some conversation sometimes, right? Even though he's a good guy.
Yeah.
So it's so important to get some conversations. I think that the way we're doing with association is to actually just coming in contact and having the conversation with them. And that's kind of opening up our possibility to have a conversation, because when they see that it's an association who's calling and helping them, as I told my salesperson, I said, hey, my mentor, Frankie, told me that you have to kind of tell them that, hey, I'm a client. When you are calling them, like, can you take on more motorcycle cases, right?
Yeah.
Or can you take on more cleaning, I mean, this type of cleaning, basically. So it was really, really helpful. And now that, we learned this in this training, basically, to take the risk and try it out for a month. But once kind of they have seen the training and they know that this kind of helping, then I don't give them for free for a month, obviously.
Yeah. This is one more, Tarek. I don't know if you were in the mastermind back then or not, because this was a few years ago, but I sent this ad to Kyle. We also, Ilke and I, we had a car, we drove around, just a Volkswagen GTI, and we had it in storage in Canada. And then after like the COVID madness, I was just paying the storage fees for like 2.5 years. And I realized like the car is depreciating in value. I'm paying storage fees and I'm probably not going to spend the like $5,000 to ship it over and all those things. So we had to say goodbye to the car. But the problem was, after 2.5 years of sitting in storage, especially through Canadian winters, like it had some issues, like the battery was dead. There was just like little things that weren't a big deal to fix. But how do you fix them from across the ocean?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
so were you around when we did this?
Yeah, I think, but it's a long time ago, so I don't remember the story actually. So it would be really good to have a refresher. Obviously,
Well,
yeah, I appreciate that.
So I put an ad up for the car, just thinking if I could get one person to buy this car and take it off my hands, it would be worth it. I ended up having, in a day and a half, 200 or 300 people ask me to buy this car. And a couple of people offered to just give me cash without even seeing the car. And the first guy who paid me took it and moved on. So I wrote, this is the actual ad. There were a couple pictures of the car with it, obviously.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Must sell, great deal on 2012 red Volkswagen Golf GTI. Okay, so this car has a story to it. Firstly, I fucking love this car. When you drive it, you will understand. It has giddy up. It's comfy. It rides so smoothly. Best car I've ever owned, bar none. So many great things about it. My girlfriend and I have been traveling the world for 3 years now. We've had 2 amazing road trips across North America. Currently, we're in Germany. With COVID, it's unlikely we're coming back anytime soon. Right now, the car is sitting in storage in my hometown, good old Windsor, Ontario. It has a bunch of our stuff inside. Unfortunately, it's been sitting idle in storage for 2 years. Of course, it was running perfectly before we put it in storage, and now it has some minor problems. The battery's dead. The oil and gas need topped up. It probably needs to be looked at. Otherwise, though, great fucking car. According to the Edmunds on the internet, it's worth between $7,000 and $8,000 US dollars, around 10,000 Canadian. It's a US title, so there's a bit more bureaucracy to buy this car. I'm happy to sell it for $4,000 Canadian. That's over 50% off its actual value. I will also take payment in Bitcoin. If you are interested, I have 2 conditions. One, you have to do the fix-ups and repair. It's minor stuff, new battery, oil, gas. But from 10,000 kilometers away in Germany, that stuff is infinitely harder for me to do than for you. 2, I want to keep my stuff inside. I have friends and family in Windsor that can store it for me. I just need you to take it out at the time of purchase. I will ask you to drop it off. Currently, the car is in storage and you can look at it whenever they're open. If you're interested, shoot me a reply or text. I may reply at weird hours because of the time zone difference. I had like 200 or 300, probably about 250 people, if I had to remember correctly, that wanted to buy this car. And I was just actually, when I wrote it, I was just thinking like, just one person buys this car.
This just wait. I love it. It's like so honest, right? I mean, it just gives you all and obviously the value, actually, the value that you get it for, you get it for that price. But you get it for that price, not by telling them, hey, you get it cheap, but you're actually explaining the whole situation, right?
Yeah.
So they don't actually kind of doubt it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. There's honesty.
There's story behind it, right? I think that's the kind of most important part here. It's otherwise like why would you sell the car which is costing $8,000 for $4,000, right?
And also, we've mentioned before that whenever you list price, you contextualize price with value. So right here.
That's the one I was missing.
And then we mentioned qualification. And what's my qualification? I need you to fix it up, and I need you to get my stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So if you look at the IVQ formula, I did it a little bit out of order where I say the investment is this much. And the value is in the statement before, and the qualification are these 2 things. But that's basically the price of the offer is the investment. And when you do this, you can just put price up front, right? Like a lot of people hide behind it, but you don't need to do that.
Well, this gives me an idea that, we can offer this price to you, which is very affordable, but you have to promise us that you will, you will train your employees with this.
There you
right?
go.
Because that's amazing, because we will apply that. Otherwise, we will give you this price, but that will mean that you would train your employees so that they feel safer. Yeah. That's the only reason we're going to do that for that price.
Bingo.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, my man.
Take care. Thank you, Frankie. Have a beautiful day.
Much love for you.
Much love for you too.